This is gonna be a story time of how I almost drowned someone's baby. Y'all, I cannot sleep at night because of this. I cannot believe that I did this to someone's child. Now, let me go ahead and explain myself. So I was babysitting for this one rich ass family. What's so amazing about it was the fact that the parents were never home. At the same time, I was just a senior in high school. I didn't have much to do after school either. I didn't have hobbies. I didn't play a sport. So I had all the time in the world to babysit for their kid and house sit for them. This baby was only 1 year old. Since the baby was so young, I had to keep eyes on it at all times. They had this big pool area and they said that if I ever wanted to go swimming, I could, and there was a floaty for the baby. One day while I was house sitting and babysitting for them, I went in the pool and I put the baby on the floaty thing. Somehow I forgot that that baby existed. I felt something in the bottom of my feet at the pool. It was like slippery, so I kicked it out the way because I thought it was a toy. And then when I turn around me, I see that the baby is not on the floaty. I look down and I see this tiny human sunk in the water, like for part 2. This is part 2 of how I almost drowned someone's baby. When this was happening, I was on my phone, so I was distracted. I looked down in the pool and I see that the baby is drowning. I don't really know how to explain the way that my heart skipped a beat at this exact moment. Like, my heart was beating regularly and then all of a sudden it skipped 2 beats at a time. My ass was in my forehead. Immediately dived down into the pool, took out the baby, but the baby was suffocating. Now listen, I never did CPR, but God blessed me with those skills in that very moment. I was able to keep myself calm and did CPR on the baby and was able to get it to breathe again. I did not tell nobody shit about this. I didn't tell the parents. The baby is fine. I really should have told the parents because what if it did cause a health issue? But from what I've seen, the baby's fine. Yeah, I didn't tell them what happened, but I quit babysitting because I felt guilty. They haven't said anything about their baby dysfunctioning, so the baby is fine. Just because of this, I pulled myself out of babysitting and I'll never babysit ever again because I'm clearly not responsible enough. Story time about how my brother caught me hooking up with his girlfriend. My brother started dating this girl last year and they were hanging out every day. Also around that time last year, I started to figure out my sexuality. Well, since my brother and her would hang out every single day at my house, I would see her all the time. And I started to get little feelings. Something came over me, baby. I was like, God is a woman. I just kind of came to the conclusion that I liked girls. Since she was dating my brother and they were home all the time, me and her kind of started talking too. We exchanged Snapchats, just a friendly exchange. Keep in mind that at the time, she didn't know my sexuality. Nobody did. So that night, after we exchanged Snapchats, I was Snapchatting somebody else, and I was sending them some explicit pictures. Since I recently just added my brother's girlfriend on Snapchat, her name was at the top, so I accidentally clicked on her name and sent her the explicit picture. I didn't even realize that I did that until I received a snap from her out of nowhere, and she had sent an explicit picture back, like for part 2. This is part 2 of how my brother caught me hooking up with his girlfriend. So like I said, I accidentally sent my brother's girlfriend an explicit picture on Snapchat. Not knowing that I even sent it, I received an explicit picture back from her. I said, baby, I'll really bite your titties. Stop playing with me. But after she sent me the picture, I responded with heart eyes, and then she texted me and said that she would be coming over tomorrow to hang out with my brother. So I basically said, cool, I'll see you around, and then she came over the next day. So the next day came and she was at my house, but I wasn't talking to her. She was with my brother. And then she walks into my room. I was like, hey, where's Rob? We'll just call the brother that. She said she sent him to the store to get some snacks. I asked if she wanted to come chill on my bed. She agreed. And right off the bat, we started, we getting it bonking, having a good time. That's when the door swings open and there my brother is standing at my doorway. Like for part 3.
Am I the asshole for wanting to expose my lying, cheating mother? A month ago, I borrowed my mom's phone and she had no idea, but I looked at all of her apps and found that she was cheating with multiple men. I'm 26 years old and my parents have now been married for 30 years. I actually got separated when I graduated from high school, but then they got back together a few years later. My mom has always been the one that wants to separate my dad, but he keeps wanting to get back together with her. My dad is actually in love with this woman. He adores her. He does everything for her. He's super affectionate with her, loves to take her out on dates, gives her so much of his time, and she still doesn't appreciate it. I've always been closer to my dad than my mom. My mom's always trying to find an excuse to go party with her friends, but now I know why. Like I said, I ended up borrowing her phone and she probably didn't expect me to go snooping. And honestly, it wasn't even my intention. I'm scrolling on her phone and I see the app Tinder. I nearly fell out of my seat. So I quickly scrolled through everything and started taking pictures. My mom was sending nudes to random men. Part 2 is up. Am I the asshole for wanting to expose my lying, cheating mother? That's when I saw that she was sending nudes to men on different apps. Not only was she on Tinder, she was also on Bumble and an app for older people. Mind you, my father is still in love with this woman. I managed to take pictures of everything on the apps. Here's the worst part. Start going through her messages and that's when I found that she has a boyfriend. At that point, I didn't know how long they'd been together. Now I know that she's been with him for 6 months. So every single time she goes on her weekend trips with her friends, she's actually with her boyfriend. And get this, she uses my dad's money to pay for everything. An entire week passed before I confronted her. First, I didn't know how to confront her, but I had to just do it. Every time I saw my dad, I would start to cry and he was worried about me. I didn't have the heart to tell my dad until I confronted my mom. I went up to her and I showed her all the receipts I had. So she got pissed at me for looking through her phone. By the way, at this point, I'm still living with my parents. That's when she threatened to kick me out of the house if I told my dad anything. My own mother threatening me. Then she tried to smack me across the face, so I smacked her. Part 3 is up. Am I the asshole for wanting to expose my lying, cheating mother? After she slapped me, I slapped her back. And I slapped her so hard she actually fell on the floor. I instantly felt bad and tried to apologize. That's when she started to cry and I started to cry. I asked her to just be honest with me and tell me the truth. She told me that she wasn't in love with my dad anymore, but that she felt bad for him because he was still in love with her. And that she'd been dating this new guy for 6 months. She even confessed that she was addicted to going on dating apps and flirting with men. That's when I told her she needed to tell my dad. That she needed to stop using his money to take her boyfriend out. Then another confession. She had spent over $25,000 on hotels that she would book for her and her new boyfriend. And apparently this guy was broke. He couldn't pay for himself. She tried to negotiate with me. If I don't tell my dad, she'd break up with her boyfriend and stop using the apps. I mean, she's my mother and I don't want to cause her pain, but it's my dad. I ended up telling her that I wouldn't tell my dad. But 2 nights ago, my dad went on a work trip. My mom is so stupid she actually snuck in her boyfriend through her window. I heard them doing the dirty all night. Now she's begging me again not to tell my dad. I'm planning on telling my dad tonight. I'll have to keep you guys updated.